Hey everybody, hope that you have been well. So there's something in our text today. It's actually in our reading for today that truly baffled me, and it also baffled David. God did something and David was like, why would you do that? And don't we all sometimes always ask ourselves that, like, why did God do what he did? Why did he choose to do it in the way that he did it, especially when it's something very heavy, very difficult, very challenging to accept. And so I want to give you the background. Let me set this up for you. So David has just been crowned king. This is after many years of running away from King Saul. King Saul has been trying to kill him every chance he got. Every chance he got, he was trying to kill this man. And first of all, just a testament, just right there, that it doesn't matter what anybody tries to do to derail your destiny. If God has anointed you to be king, you will be king regardless, because it is God that has said it. And has he said it, will he not do it? Doesn't matter what your enemies or what anybody tries to put in your path. If God has said he will get you there, he is faithful to do it. And another thing about dealing with your enemies is David had a chance two times to kill Saul. Literally, Saul was asleep. David was there with his spear and with every artillery that he could use to kill King Saul. And he said that I will not touch my anointed. I will not touch the anointed of God. If God intends to kill King Saul, let him find his own ways to do it. And that's another thing that I really love about how David was and how he handled his enemies and how he always asked God, what do I do? How do I move? I want to go and attack the Philistines. Are you going to give me victory? I want to go and attack the Amalekites. Are you going to give me victory? Every move of God, every move of David was directed by God. That was a sidebar. Let me get to the story. So now, anyway, King David has just become king, and he wants to go and take the Ark of the Covenant from where it had been for 20 years. Remember, when King Saul was king, he had disregarded the things of God. So he didn't care where the Ark of the Covenant was. He had gotten into divination and just seeking not heeding the ways of God. King Saul was just doing his own thing. And so King David, once he was king, the first thing that he wanted to do is to bring the Ark of the Covenant. So what he wanted to do was a very good thing, right? And so in Exodus, Moses had written, and this is where I had to go and research and just to okay, I've already read it, but just to remind myself, because I did not understand why this happened. And so as he's carrying out the Ark of the Covenant, it was staying in a house of somebody called Abinadab for 20 years. And so they are leading the Ark of the Covenant out, and somebody called Uzzah, and I remember the name of, I forget the name of the other person. They were carrying the Ark of the Covenant, right? And they are dancing and singing and celebrating that the Ark of the Covenant is going to the city of David. And then the oxen, they trip. And so the Ark of the Covenant sort of shakes or stumbles and is about to fall. And Uzzah holds it up so that it doesn't fall. And the Bible then records that God's anger was aroused and he killed Uzzah on the spot. Hey, so me, I was like, hey, what has just happened? like everything was going well. They're taking the Ark of the Covenant to the city of David. They're dancing, celebrating. They're doing all the right things. Why would God kill Uzzah? And he said that it's because, of his irreverence, not having reverence to God. And it also records that David was very angry. Please let me read so that I do not misquote. Yeah, David became angry and grieved and offended because of the Lord's outburst against Uzzah. How many times have we felt that God is overreacting, or God is not doing the right thing, or God is, his hand is so heavy on my life, and God does something that just, no matter how you slice it, you don't understand why God had to do that thing. And so I had to go and research and find out, why did God kill Uzzah? And so this is why I was talking about Exodus. God had already stipulated how the Ark of the Covenant was supposed to be handled. It was supposed to be carried on the shoulders, and only the Levites were supposed to handle the Ark of the Covenant. And the Ark of the Covenant was not to be touched by or handled by any other person who was not a Levite. And so this is why when Uzzah touched the Ark of the Covenant, remember, there's one thing that I'm learning about God, is God does not compromise when it comes to his holiness. We forget just how holy God is, just how much and how great he is. Like, he sits above the heavens. He is greater. His glory and his grandeur, we forget it, you know. And yes, it is good that we know God as our friend, and God is near, and God is near to us, and he loves us, and it is great, and it is him. But we forget that also God sits above us, and that he is holy. And that is why he felt that his holiness was being compromised by a non-Levite handling or touching the Ark of the Covenant in that way. And one thing again that I found out is, I thought to God, so God, you would have preferred for the Ark of the Covenant to fall down. Like, wasn't Uzzah doing a nice thing by wanting to just hold it so that it doesn't fall? And so as I'm doing my research, one of the scholars cites that, why do we think that God was not able to handle that by himself? Why do we think that God could not take care of his own self? The Ark of the Covenant was the representation of God. So God could have prevented himself or the Ark of the Covenant from falling off. That is the easiest thing to God. He could have done that like this. He could have prevented himself from falling. But then we felt, as human beings in the flesh, that it was our responsibility to take care of God. God can take care of himself all by himself. He is God. He is God. And that, just him holding the Ark of the Covenant, his disobedience, because it was disobedience, and thinking that I was doing it for the intention was good, so that then God would forgive me, is to tell us that our intentions, though good, the end does not justify the means when it comes to God. The end does not justify the means when it comes to God. If you steal to do a good thing, yes, your intention was to do a good thing, but you did a bad thing to get to the good thing. You disobeyed God to get to the good thing. You want to get married, for example, but how are you getting married is a good thing, but how are you getting to that destination? You want a child, that's a good thing, but how are you getting to that destination? You want to get up in your business, you want to go up the career ladder, but how are you getting there? The thing you want is good, but how you want it, how you are going about getting it, it matters to God. It matters to God. And so in my research, and in just trying to wrap my head around this, and I believe even David also wrapping his head around this, because First Chronicles now comes and explains to us that David, in figuring out what he had done, was wrong. Remember, his intention of bringing the Ark of the Covenant, it was right. It was good. He loved God. He wanted to do the right thing for God. But God is like, yes, you are doing the right thing, but you're going about it the wrong way. Do it how I want you to do it, not how you want to do it. Follow God how God wants to be followed. Worship him how he wants to be worshipped. Praise him how he wants to be worshipped, not how we want to do it. And that is why David always asks, how do I do it? How do I attack the Philistines? Until sometimes God would say, circle them, go around them. Sometimes he would say, just go and attack. Sometimes he would say, just lay in wait and wait for them, and then you're going to like do a surprise attack. So we have to seek God even in terms of how do we seek him. Like, you want to worship him, yes, it's a good thing, but you have to ask God, how do you want me to worship you, and how do you want me to follow you? Because otherwise you will end up doing the right thing, the beautiful thing, but go around it the wrong way. And this is what David figured out. David was so scared, by the way, after that utterly achadisha your story. For 3 months he abandoned taking the Ark of the Covenant. He just found somewhere to go and stash it for some time, and then he went about his business. And then after 3 months, the Bible records that where he went and put the Ark of the Covenant, in the house of those people, that they were abundantly blessed because the Ark of the Covenant was with them. And there's a message right there that if the presence of God is with you, blessings will just come. That if you're acting in obedience and the presence of God is with you, the blessings will come automatically, because there is nowhere God will be and failure to exist. There is nowhere God will be in the long run and for blessings not to flow. That is just God. The blessings will flow. It's just that the blessings flow after obedience. When you keep being obedient to God and you keep being of service to God, he's not a man that he should lie. He is a promise keeper. The blessings will come. That's a message in and of itself. So after David finds out that this family is being blessed because the Ark of the Covenant is with them, he does his work. He goes back and is like, okay, I tried it the first time. I didn't do it right. What did I do wrong? Please find out, what are you doing wrong? Because sometimes it's not that it's that what is holding your blessings, that maybe there's something that you're just not doing right, and David went back and was like, God did not do this thing bure too, he had a reason why he killed Uzzah. He had a reason why, and David found out it's because I did not use the Levites. They were the ones who are supposed to carry the Ark of the Covenant. There's a way in which the Ark of the Covenant is to be carried, and all this is recorded in First Chronicles from, I believe, chapter between 13 and 16, and how he went about it the right way, and how when he was taking the Ark of the Covenant, he offered the burnt sacrifices and the peace offerings, and the Levites were the ones carrying it, and how they went about it until the Ark of the Covenant went up to the city of David, and how David was dancing and singing and praising God. And again, this comes to when his wife, she's called Michal, and she was the daughter of Saul. So when the wife saw him dancing and dancing and worshiping God unlike a king, because she felt like, you're a king, why are you over here unarukaruka too, dancing and rara, why are you acting like this, and you are a king, like you should behave a certain type of way. But David said, I'm not doing it to please people, I am doing it to please God. And we should never ever be ashamed of worshiping God, regardless of stature, regardless of your wealth, regardless of your place in society, regardless of how high you go up your corporate ladder and you are the CEO of that company, or how famous you get, or how popular you get. You should never get to a point where you are ashamed of worshiping and praising God freely and openly. In fact, the more God gives you a platform, I believe the more you should worship, and the more you should praise, and the more people should know that it is God who got you there. And this is where we fall short. The number of people that God blesses and God uplifts from the mud, from the dirt, from sheer poverty, from people who used to cry to God, God, if you get me this, I'll remember you. You get the celebrity status, you get the money, you get the wealth, you get the houses and the cars and the what, and then you come back and you think it's you who got it, and you are now ashamed to even say that all these blessings I have, it is God who got them for me. And you forget the secret place, and you forget the times when you used to kneel down and cry out to God, give me this, please give me this, if you give me this, I'll remember you. But then you get there and you forget God. And that is why we don't have enough people at the top, whether in music or in whatever field of life, academics or business or church or what. In so many sectors, we don't have enough people saying that, imagine me, I'm here because God got me here. We get up there and we forgot the God that took us there. And it is a beautiful thing to see that David never forgot, that the first thing that David did is to bring the Ark of the Covenant back, and to not be ashamed of God, but to worship him and to tell people that God sustained me in the cave. He sustained me when I was running away from Saul. He sustained me at war. Every time I would go to war, he made sure I got out of it safe, and he gave me victory. And when he finally got the throne, he remembered God. And I see why the Bible says that David was a man after God's own heart. I truly see it. He asked God about everything. He sought God about everything. If God said don't go, he didn't go. If God said go, he went. If God was displeased, he didn't. Like, for example, when God was displeased and he killed Uzzah, David could have decided, hey, me, I've even stopped this story of the Ark of the Covenant, me, I wanted to do a right thing. God is upset, now he's killing people, I'm not even going to do this, I'm going to abandon it. But he went back and he self-reflected, and he asked himself, why did I do what wrong did I do that deserved the punishment that was received? And he went back and found out what he did, and he changed his ways. And let me tell you another thing that I got from this. There could be something that has happened in your life and you don't know why it has happened. You have ransacked your mind. Maybe you've lost a child, you have lost a parent or a dear one, or you're dealing with a health issue, or you have been looking for a job for years and tamarking, or you have been waiting on God for so long, you have been waiting on God for a child, or you've even gone for so many procedures, you're still not getting your child, or you have so been financially stretched for year in, year out, and you're wondering, why does God do this? I want to please tell you that even if God does something, he doesn't do it just for the sake of doing it. God killed Uzzah, and on the face of it, even to David's face of it, he thought that God had done a wrong thing, but God had a reason why he did it. It's because his holiness was being compromised, and he wanted for them to do things the right way. He had a reason. God always has a reason, even when things look bad, even when he does something and it beats logic. Please always rest in this, that God does not do things just to do them. If God does something, if God allows for something to happen, because nothing happens without God allowing. God is never shocked that, oh my goodness, you know, this calamity has just befallen. What do we do? He knows it ahead of time. And if he allows it to happen, he has a reason for it. And we may never know why. And this is the part that sometimes we have to just rest in God. I may never understand why you do what you do, but God, I trust you. Paul said in the Bible that though you slay me, yet I will worship. Because sometimes God will slay you. God will take you through situations when you're like, yani Mungu unanimaliza, yani unanimaliza. But God never, ever, ever does it without a reason. David spent so many years running running away from Saul. He could have asked himself those questions, and he did. By the way, if you read the book of Psalms, it is a collection of David asking, why are you doing this? Why are you forsaking me? You know, you've left me and I'm alone and I'm sad and I'm stressed and my enemies are pursuing me and I'm this. He lamented and he always spoke his mind and his heart to God. But he always ended with saying that, God, regardless, I know you will come through. I may not see the reason why, but I know that I trust you and I know that it is for my good. So it does not mean also that as Christians, we may not always be declaring the goodness of God. You know, sometimes we will fall apart. But even after falling apart, let us always remember to tell God that I still trust you. I still trust your heart, that your heart is for me, that you mean me well, that you will do me well, that this is for my good, that you cause all things to work together for the good of those who love the Lord, that though you slay me, yet I will worship you, that you do all of these things, and even if I do not understand them, that it is for my good. The message is running a little long, so let me finish there. I pray that this word has blessed you. I'd love to hear what one thing you picked up from this message that has blessed your heart. And yeah, I continue to encourage you to read the Bible. Read the Bible. I hope you've read at least a verse today. Be blessed.